rub, a dub, dub. Let's get into the tub. It is time for tub trivia. Thank you everyone for joining us in the bathtub. I am your host, Justin Dodd, ready to fill your noggins with plenty of very important and obscure trivia knowledge. I hope you guys are ready for a very fun episode, which is our last episode of Season 1. Yeah, we've spent 10 wonderful Fridays in the bathtub together, and we've got some very exciting stuff planned for the future. But right now, let's get it started with your first question of the night for your first point of the night. Here we go. Which 1980s television show's Season 1 finale was entitled The Way We Met and involved the four main characters reminiscing about how they came to live together? Okay, if you think you know the answer to that, type your answer into the chat right now. 1980s television show. Season 1 finale is called The Way We Met. If you think you know it, type it in. You'll get the first point. There's a lot of context clues in here. 1980s, four main characters all living together. Something's happening. The answer I'm looking for is The Golden Girls. Yep, that's Season 1 finale of The Golden Girls. That episode aired on May 10th, 1986. A classic. Look, and also, I'm not saying that this show is the Golden Girls of online trivia, but I do spend most of my evenings eating cheesecake with three older women, so do with that what you will. If you got that right, give yourselves a point. That is hopefully the first of many points to come. Here's how the night is gonna go. I ask you questions, split into 4 rounds. You type your answer into the chat if you want to play along, or feel free to sit back and whisper the answers to yourself knowingly instead. Either way is fine. The winner of tonight's show can finally give this duck a name. That's right, there's a real prize this time. We are finally giving somebody full duck naming privileges. So start brainstorming names now if you think you're going to come out on top. Before we start round 1 though, I would also like to very kindly request that if you aren't already, go and follow Mental Floss on Instagram. Bam! Look at that, right there. Look at that little graphic. Go and follow Mental Floss on Instagram. If for no other reason then, that is the hub for all Tub Trivia news. If you want to stay up to date on the future of Tub Trivia and what the next iteration of it might look like, go to the Instagram, give it a follow. I promise you will not regret it. Okay, let's move on to round number 1. Who's ready? Let's hit it. You've already got a little bit of a taste for it. It is first finales. First finales. Yep, as this is our Season 1 finale of Tub Trivia, we decided to dedicate a whole round to Season 1 finales. I will give you the name of the episode, and then you tell me which show it was the Season 1 finale of. So if I say, the one where Rachel finds out, you would say, Friends. Easy enough. I'm also going to give you the approximate air date of the episode, just because I'm feeling generous. Let's begin. Your first finale is Ricky Asks for a Raise, and this is in May 1952. Ricky Asked for a Raise. If you think you know what show this was the first finale of, type your answer into the chat, and you will be one step closer to giving this beautiful little guy a name. I mean, this is a top tier prize. That answer is, it's I Love Lucy. Yeah, we're talking about Ricky, you know, Lucy's beau. During the rehearsal for this episode, fun fact, Lucille Ball discovered she was pregnant, and her and Desi Arnaz feared that it would mean the end for the show, but it was writer Jess Oppenheimer who suggested they just work it into Lucy's story, and the rest is history. There you go. Question number 2. Hot Girl from April 2005. Ooh, okay. This one's a little tougher, less context clues, but if there are some fans out there, which I know there are, I think you can get it. The mid-aughts. What was happening on TV in the mid-aughts? I don't know. It was a simpler time. People were just making TV just for the fun of it. Weren't really fearing for their lives. Hot Girl is the Season 1 finale of what? Type your answer in before I reveal it. It's The Office. Yep, it's The Office. There were only 6 episodes in the first season of The Office, the 6th being Hot Girl, which is the one where Amy Adams is selling purses in one of the conference rooms. It was written by Mindy Kaling, a classic episode. Cream cheese filling, gotta say, a delicious name, and also one of the few correct responses. Congratulations to cream cheese filling, already killing it. Question number 3, Operation Annihilate. April 1967. Back in the 60s. I'm guessing, not a lot of us were watching TV in 1967. But Operation Annihilate, that exclamation point, that's not really a clue. But I do appreciate when episode titles or names of movies or books have punctuation in it. Operation Annihilate. I think you can get this one. Operation Annihilate, the 60s. The answer is, it's Star Trek. The original series, Operation Annihilate. This is episode 29 of the original Star Trek series. This is where they land on a planet that's home to Kirk's brother, but then they find it's overrun by amoeba-like aliens. Classic. The amoeba parasites, by the way, were designed by prop artist Hua Chang from bags of fake vomit. Love it. Classy. Number 4, My Coffee with Niles. May 1994. My Coffee with Niles. Obviously a play on the title My Dinner with Andre, a scintillating movie about 2 middle-aged guys eating dinner. But what show are we talking about here? My Coffee with Niles. Here's the answer. This one's got a lot of clues in it. Coffee, Niles in the 90s. It just screams Frasier. That is the first episode, or the final episode of season 1 of Frasier, where, believe it or not, Frasier and Niles have some coffee. Fun fact, Kelsey Grammer was nominated for playing the character Frasier Crane on Cheers, and on Frasier, and on a crossover episode of Wings, which makes him the only actor in television history to be nominated for playing the same role on 3 different shows. Wild. Frasier Crane is the thread that unites us all. Question number 5. I Dream of Jeannie Cusimano. I Dream of Jeannie Cusimano. April 1999 is when this episode aired. What show does it belong to? I'll give you a hint. It is not I Dream of Jeannie. That's a freebie. A couple years off. But Jeannie Cusimano, what are we talking about here? The answer I'm looking for is, that's The Sopranos. Yeah, that's right. Sopranos season 1. Sopranos is good all the way until the end. The name of this episode, obviously a play on I Dream of Jeannie, but also to the fact that in the episode, Tony tells his psychiatrist that he had a dream about his neighbor, Gene Cusimano. It's a deep cut, but I hope my slight Italian accent helped you get there. We'll see. Question number 6. Exodus, part 1 and 2. This was like kind of a 3-part finale for the season 1 of this show. Do you know what it is? Exodus, part 1 and 2. Came out in May 2005. A very long finale for a very long and complicated show. Exodus part 1 and 2. The season 1 finale of what? Did you guess? That's Lost. That's Lost. Yep, some would like to say it's Exodus parts 1 and 2 and 3 because the second part was split into 2-hour-long episodes. They just really went for it. That show is a lot, but it's great, and I miss it all the time. Also, by the way, this episode, yeah, it's when we see into the hatch. Okay, I gotta stop talking about Lost because I'll get lost in a whole different world. Question number 7. Your final question in the first round of first finales is Fire and Blood from June 2011. Season 1 happened in 2011. What was happening back then? Fire and Blood. Type your answer into the chat, and then we're going to move on to round number 2. Did you guess Fire and Blood is the first finale of Game of Thrones, baby. Game of Thrones. That's right. It's named Fire and Blood because that is the House Targaryen motto. It's one of the dopest final scenes to an episode. No spoilers, but also if you haven't watched Game of Thrones at this point, you're just being blatantly contrarian. Just go watch it. Just do it. My best friend had never watched it. He just watched it 2 weeks ago. It took him 10 days to watch the whole thing. Go watch Game of Thrones. That is the end of first finales. How did everybody do? Are you up to date on your television trivia? Episode titles are kind of a weird concept, right? Because like in a lot of cases, you only ever see them on like the DVD menu screen, or I guess now when selecting it on Netflix. But only some shows actually show the titles on screen. Anyway, these are the things I think about at night. Remember to keep track of your scores as we move right along to round number 2, which is called Immortal. Immortal. Yeah. This was not a spelling error. This is exactly what I meant to type. If you're unfamiliar, an immortal is a word that, when spelled backwards, produces another word. Okay? So like time, T-I-M-E, is emit backwards, E-M-I-T. Those are immortal of each other. Also, it's the word palindrome backwards, if you couldn't figure that out. These clues that I'm about to give you will produce 2-word answers, both of which are immortal of each other, okay? So you're going to see a clue. When you type your answer, give me 2 words in your answer. If you're only typing 1, you're doing something wrong, okay? And your full 2-word answer should read the same backwards and forwards. If this sounds confusing, don't worry. You're either going to get it after the first question or you'll never get it. And this round will just be, it'll just ignore it, okay? Question number 1 in the Immortal is a kingly beer. A kingly beer. What is it? Type in 2 words that should be this. They should read backwards to each other. You got this. I believe in you. A kingly beer is a Regal Lager. A Regal Lager. Okay, does everybody get it now? Do we understand how this works? A Regal Lager. All right, I'll stop talking about how confusing this round is because I know that some people out there, this is exactly how their brain works and they're going to kill it. Believe it or not, kings, like most people, like to drink alcohol. Some archaeological studies have even shown that ancient potteries linked to Egyptian rulers about 5,000 years ago suggest that they were fans of the yeasty drink as well. Beer, who would have guessed, a popular drink. Question number 2 in the Immortal Lapse round is a prize inside a dresser. What are we talking about? A prize inside a dresser. See, this is a different part of your brain. You know, this isn't memory or something like that. This is some interesting problem solving. If you're more of like, you know, a strictly logic-based person, this might not be your round. But I believe in every single one of you. A prize inside a dresser. Did you guess that I'm talking about a drawer reward? Drawer reward. That's right. Drawer reward. Look at him. Same word, spelled backwards of itself. I love it. Immortal Lapse are really weird. Here's a fun fact. In 2019, an abstract cornice dresser won the A Design Award, which is the premier furniture design competition, in the category of furniture, decorative items, and homeware design. Yep, that's right. I spent way too long trying to find a dresser that won an award just so I could talk about it right here. And it was worth it. Question number 3. Anxious sweets. Anxious sweets. What is the Immortal Lap answer for this? By the way, this is not anxious sweats. That's a different thing entirely. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. But I wish I had some anxious sweets. But unfortunately, I'm not. Also, to answer your question, Lucille Griffo, have I ever considered radio with my sultry voice? Well, let me just say, it runs in the family. Radio is, well, it's in my blood. If you're ever in Sarasota, Florida, check out 107.9 WSRZ for all of your oldies hits. The answer for anxious sweets is stressed desserts. Stressed desserts. Yep, that's right. Anxious sweets. The word dessert, by the way, comes from the French word desservir, meaning to clear the table, most likely because it was served after everything else was removed from the table, and its first known use was all the way back in 1600 in a health education manual. There you go, desserts. Been around for a while. Question number 4. Mr. Rodman committed a divine no-no. Yeah, I let my 4-year-old cousin write this one. Mr. Rodman committed a divine no-no. What are we talking about? See, these are interesting because all you need to do is figure out one of the words. You don't need to get both because if you get one, flip it around, you got it. Mr. Rodman committed a divine no-no. Who are we talking about and what did they do? Type your answer in before I reveal it. The answer is Dennis sinned. Dennis sinned. Yeah. The first written use of the word no-no, by the way, comes from 1942, and it is described as a childish reduplication of the word no. Who would have guessed that no-no meant no twice? What a concept. Question number 5. A small fly's powdered drink. A small fly's powdered drink. What is the Immortal app answer for that? By the way, if you are right now just typing the word Kool-Aid backwards into the chat, you still don't understand how this round works. And that's okay. You don't have to. But it is not Dia Luke. It's not Kool-Aid backwards. An annoying fly's powdered drink. What are we talking about? The answer is... it's Nat Tang. It's Nat Tang, of course. What else would it be? By the way, it is a common misconception that Tang was invented for the NASA space program. It was first marketed in powdered form back in the 50s, but sales were pretty poor until John Glenn used it on a Mercury flight in 1962, which means it grew in popularity tenfold and has been associated with space travel ever since. But it just started out as a regular old powdered drink. Question number 6. Excavated jeans. Excavated jeans. What are we talking about? Excavated jeans. This is a great name for like an industrial band, right? Like a noise rock, real syncopated industrial tones. Excavated jeans. What's the answer I'm looking for, though? Once again, figure out one of the words, flip it, reverse it, you got it. The answer I'm looking for is, of course, there's only one. It's Mind Denim. Mind Denim. Can you imagine if denim was found buried in the earth, like that's how it grew? Hipsters would go crazy for Mind Denim, myself included. Like, oh yeah, these Levi's, these were actually dug up in a Himalayan jorts mine. Cost me 3,000 euros. We'd go crazy for it. Your final question in the Immortal Apps round is a comment from Jerry Seinfeld's neighbor. A comment from Jerry Seinfeld's neighbor. What is the Immortal app for this? Give me 2 words, and they better be the same spelling backwards of each other. And then we will move right on to round number 3. Oh my gosh, we're cruising. The answer I'm looking for. Jerry Seinfeld's neighbor. It's a Kramer remark. It's a Kramer remark. And by the way, if you're wondering, the season 1 finale of Seinfeld was entitled The Stock Tip. There you go. Round number 2. Our fun, funky spelling, think outside the box round. Done. In the books. We're just cruising right along. I miss you guys already. Also, if you've just joined us, please play along with us. We've got 2 very fun rounds left. How's everybody doing? Anybody got a perfect 15 points, right? That would be the perfect score, 15 points right now. If you do, let me know. I'll shout you out. But I think the Immortal apps might have taken a few people out of the running. We'll see. But tonight is the night for someone to get a super high score. Potentially your last chance for a little bit. I want to give a special shout out to Kwai Kwe Quode and Brittany Hill, who have 13 points, which is amazing. Ooh, Kellyanne O'Brien counting up 14 points. That is a near perfect score, Kellyanne. Very impressive. Let's see if you guys can continue this streak as we moved into round number 3, which is, around here, our favorite round. It's the this or that round. That's right, this or that. This week, it's cocktail or takedown. You understand yet? Probably not. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a name. You have to tell me if that name belongs to a popular cocktail or to an official move used in professional wrestling. Yep, that's right. They are almost indistinguishable, so good luck. But, ironically, both of these things would end up giving you a headache. There you go. For example, if I were to say a screwdriver, you would say cocktail. If I say flying forearm smash, that's a wrestling move. Pretty easy, right? Fair warning, they're going to be a little bit harder than that. Here's your first cocktail or takedown right here. The Alabama Slammer. The Alabama Slammer. Is that a wrestling move or is that a cocktail? Type your answer into the chat. That's all I got to do. Type in cocktail or takedown for your answer. And honestly, unless you are a big fan of WWE or know a bunch of pretentious cocktails, I say just go with your gut on all of these. First thing that pops into your head. Alabama Slammer, did you guess? That's a cocktail. Yep, that's right. Alabama Slammer is a cocktail made with amaretto, Southern Comfort, sloe gin, and orange juice. It is claimed to have been made famous by quarterback Brett Favre. However, this drink was popular back in colleges in the 80s and was also available for a while as a pitcher in TGI Fridays. Yum, yum, yum. The Alabama Slammer, it's a cocktail. It is not throwing somebody down onto the mat. Number 2, the Molly Go Round. Molly Go Round, what is it, a cocktail or a wrestling move? All of these truly sound both delicious and terrifying. Like, I would love to sip on a Molly Go Round, but I would hate to have somebody perform a Molly Go Round on my neck. Whatever it is. Is it a cocktail or a takedown? The answer for this one is, that's a wrestling takedown, baby. The Molly Go Round, it's a variant of the diving seated senton, and basically this is how it works. I looked up a video. The attacker does a diving somersault onto the shoulders of their opponent, forcing them down to the ground, and then they pin them in that position. It was innovated by Molly Holly. There we go. Question number 3. Blow my skull off. Is that a very violent wrestling move or a very violent cocktail? Either way, you are going to regret it in the morning. Blow my skull off. Cocktail or takedown? You tell me. The answer is, it's a cocktail. Yep, blow my skull off is a cocktail. I mean, thank goodness it's not a legal wrestling move because people would get really hurt. It's a drink. It's listed in the English and Australian cookery book with the following ingredients. Listen to this. 2 pints of boiling water, sugar loaf, lime juice, 1 pint of ale, 1 pint rum, and a half pint of brandy. That's so many pints of alcohol in one drink. You know, I imagine you share it, but come on. I mean, that does sound like it'll blow your skull right off. Question number 4. The Texas cloverleaf. The Texas cloverleaf. What is it? See, this one doesn't sound so bad. It sounds like a tasty drink. And it honestly doesn't sound like that brutal of a wrestling move either. I like this one. The Texas cloverleaf. Which one is it, though? You tell me. Did you guess the Texas cloverleaf is a wrestling takedown, baby? I mean, it sounds like it would have made a delicious drink, maybe with like nutmeg and maybe it's like cider based. Who knows? But no, it's a very complicated wrestling move. Okay, picture this. Your opponent is down. You lift up their legs, bend one of their legs so it's hooked behind their other leg. You put the ankle of their straight leg in your armpit and then squat over their body and you lean backwards. That is a Texas cloverleaf. It sounds like the most complicated friggin' geometry equation, but no, it's a very effective wrestling move, apparently. Question number 5. The gut buster drop. Gut buster drop. What is it? Once again, it's back to being very violent. The gut buster. The drop. Maybe it's got lemons in it. Or maybe it just really hurts your poor little belly. Which one is it? The answer is... It's a wrestling move. Yep, it's another wrestling move. It sounds like it could be delicious, but no. A gut buster is any move that involves lifting up your opponent and then dropping them so that their stomach hits your body, usually the knee. But in this case, the gut buster drop is it's over your shoulder. You drop them onto your own shoulder. Bada boom, bada bing. I am fascinated by wrestling. I love it. I think it's one of the most fascinating pastimes in our history. Question number 6. The Japanese slipper. What is it? There's lots of geography-based cocktails and wrestling moves. You just put a name of a place and then a noun. You got yourself a cocktail, or you got yourself a brutal wrestling move. The Japanese slipper, what is it? The answer is, last chance, type it in. It's a cocktail. Yep. Japanese slipper. It's a bright green cocktail created in 1984 in Melbourne. Here's the official preparation instructions for the slipper. Okay. Place a cherry into a cocktail glass. Place crushed ice into the cocktail shaker. Add Midori, then the Cointreau, which is like triple sec, and lemon juice. Shake well, strain into the chilled cocktail glass, and serve. Garnish with a slice of honeydew melon. Yum! If you're into bright green liqueurs. To each their own. Number 7, the Hurricane Rana. The Hurricane Rana. What is it? Just a lightning fast wrestling move? Or what I would have to imagine is a red tiki drink, maybe. Who knows? You tell me. The Hurricane Rana. Did you guess the Hurricane Rana is... It's a wrestling move. Yeah, it's a wrestling move. It's named after the Mexican luchador Hurricane Ramirez. This move involves a head scissors takedown that ends in a double leg cradle pinning hold. Those are all real words that I just said. Wrestling is amazing. It's very theatrical, and I can appreciate that. Also, by the way, if you look it up, I did find on Tumblr a recipe for somebody who made a drink called the Hurricane Rana. But they even said the drink was named after the Mexican luchador. So I'm not giving you that point. This is a wrestling move first, and some wannabe mixologist made a recipe for it after the fact. I'm putting my foot down. I don't know. Question number 8. The Fish House Punch. I mean, this one is really hard because it is split 50-50. Fish House Punch, a punch is, you know, a type of alcohol, usually rum-based or something. And also a punch is the #1 way to inflict physical pain on somebody. It could really go either way. Follow your gut. Follow your gut buster drop to answer what the Fish House Punch is. Is it a drink or is it a wrestling move? The answer is... it's a cocktail. Yep. Cocktail does not involve hitting anyone, but this one sounds like it might actually knock you out. It was invented in the 18th century and is a very strong rum drink. Reportedly, George Washington, you know, that president of ours, after he drank a few Fish House Punches at an angler club in Philadelphia, could not bring himself to make an entry in his diary for the following 3 days because he was so hungover. Now, if that doesn't make you want to buy a Fish House Punch, I don't know what will. Question number 9. Hangman's Blood. Ooh, this one sounds scary either way. The Hangman's Blood. I can't imagine ordering this at a bar, and I can't imagine someone saying, hey, I'm about to do a hangman's blood to you. Both of those I would just, check please. I'm done. Can't do it. Hangman's Blood. Truly terrifying. The answer I'm looking for is That's another cocktail. Yep, if this were a wrestling movie, it would be terrifying. But the ingredients for the cocktail, I assure you, are equally terrifying. Anthony Burgess, the author of A Clockwork Orange, for some reason, he's the go-to person to write down the ingredients for this cocktail. He described its preparation as follows. Into a pint glass, doubles are poured of gin, whiskey, rum, port, and brandy. A small bottle of stout is added, and the whole thing topped off with champagne. That is so many different types of alcohol. Wow. But Burgess would go on to say it induces a, quote, somewhat metaphysical elation. Okay. Now I'm intrigued. Thanks, Anthony Burgess. Here's your final question in the last this or that round of season 1. Here it is. The Stinger Splash. The Stinger Splash. This one I truly believe is the hardest one. It could really go either way. A Stinger Splash? Splash, obviously, sounds like a drink that I would get at, like an Applebee's or something. I feel like every drink I get at a chain restaurant has the word splash in it. But a Stinger Splash also sounds like it's a terrifying pin in wrestling. Who knows? Type your answer in and then count up your scores before we move into the final round of the night. The Stinger Splash is a wrestling takedown, baby. It was named after Sting, but not the Sting you're thinking of. There's a wrestler named Steve Borden who goes by Sting. It's that one, not the other Sting. Involves the wrestler charging at your opponent from a corner, launching themselves, and sandwiching the opponent between their own body and the turnbuckle. The Stinger Splash, amazing. That is the end of the cocktail or takedown category of tub trivia. That's right. Let's get some bubbles back in here. Oh, hey, there they are. We have officially reached the final round. Are you guys ready? This is it. There's no turning back now. Do not forget to follow Mental Floss on Instagram so you can stay up to date with the future of tub trivia. Thank you guys for joining us, and let's just move right on to our final round. It's the melting pot. That's right, it is the melting pot round. As per tradition, this final round is our potpourri round, general knowledge round. All the answers, they may or may not be connected somehow, but the important thing is they are from a wide array of categories. This week, the melting pot. Collection of various ingredients thrown into one giant cauldron. 10 questions, your final 10 points available. Let's do it, guys. Let's get all 10. Let's get it right. I believe in us. Number 1. As of 2017, Iran alone accounted for more than half of the world's production of this member of the cashew family. Okay, here we go. First question. This member of the cashew family. You know your nuts? It would really help if you did. Which nut is produced pretty much entirely in Central Asia and the Middle East? You tell me. The answer is a pistachio. That's right, it's a pistachio. Did you know that each pistachio tree averages about 50,000 pistachios every 2 years? That's a lot of pistachios. If you're a big fan of pistachios, just buy yourself one tree. You are set for the rest of your life. Pistachios. There you go. Question number 2 in the melting pot round. According to its current manufacturer, this toy compound is primarily made of a mixture of water, salt, and flour. Okay? Okay? This toy compound made of water, salt, and flour. What are we talking about? Type your answer in for question number 2. Once again, go with your gut. Go with your gut buster drop. The answer is... that's Play-Doh. Yep, that's Play-Doh. Hasbro says that's what it's made of, but according to their 2004 patent, it is composed of water, a starch-based binder, a retrogradation inhibitor, salt, lubricant, surfactant, preservative, hardener, humectant, fragrance, and various color additives. All of those ingredients are probably what gives Play-Doh its signature taste. don't eat Play-Doh. Question number 3. This telecommunication method was invented by an American artist in the mid-19th century. Okay. I can see some lights going on in people's heads. Telecommunication method in the 19th century. Who invented it? If you knew the inventor, it would make it infinitely easier. Also, I gave you a little bit of a clue by the light going off in your head, because if that light's going off in various dots and dashes, we're talking about Morse code. That's right, Morse code, invented by Samuel Morse. Morse code is, of course, a way of communicating through either sounds or lights, among other methods. If you said telegraph, technically Samuel Morse was integral in the invention of the telegraph. You know what? It's our last episode of the season. You get a point if you said telegraph. I'm officially counting it. What can I say? I'm getting sappy. It's the final episode. Let me tell you a little fact about Morse code. ... dash 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 ... You know what that is? SOS. If you don't know it, you should learn it in case you're ever on a sailboat with and it's your only way of communicating. But did you know that SOS does not stand for Save Our Souls or Save Our Ship? Those are both backronyms made after the fact. SOS was just decided a long time ago to be the international distress signal simply because it's easy to remember. There you go, SOS. Let's move on to round number 4. Question number 4, excuse me. Approximately 175 million years ago, this supercontinent began to break apart. Supercontinent. I mean, there's really just the one. But do you remember its name? That's important. Were you paying attention in your world history class? The answer, I'll give you a few more seconds, type it in, is, of course, it's Pangea. Pangea, also, you can spell it with G-E-A, but A-E-A is also correct. We will accept both. Pangea, while it was around, was surrounded by a global ocean called Panthalassa, which sounds like an epic name, but really it's just the Greek for, like, all sea. It basically just means big sea. That's basically what it means. Pretty straightforward. But, you know, I like to think of Panthalassa as a more mythical version of just the all sea, because it was the only one. It was really big. Question number 5. This late musician released 39 albums during their lifetime and was also responsible for writing hits made famous by other artists such as Manic Monday. Which late great musician are we talking about? Type your answer into the chat. Also, I bet some of you just learned that the writer of the song Manic Monday is not who you thought it was. The author is Prince. Yep, Prince made a ton of music, a lot for himself and a lot for other musicians too. By the way, did you know it's also rumored that after his death, he left behind a vault in his home that contains potentially dozens of fully produced, unreleased albums and up to 50 music videos that were never released to the public. What a mysterious and talented fella. Question number 6. This mythical creature who dwelt at the center of the labyrinth was slain by Theseus. Okay, which mythical creature are we talking about? This mythical creature slain by Theseus. Are you up to date on your ancient mythology? I hope so. That would have helped you get this answer of... It's a minotaur. Minotaur, baby! Part man, part bull. Not to be confused with centaurs, man on top, horse on bottom. And the image of Theseus battling the minotaur, that is a scene that has been represented in ancient art many, many times over hundreds, thousands of years. Various depictions of the mythical creature. Sometimes it's just a man with horns. Sometimes it's just a bull head. Sometimes it's a whole torso. But it's always the Minotaur. There you go. Question number 7. We're coming down to it. These are the last couple. This 1964 film was nominated for 13 Academy Awards, the record for any film released by Walt Disney Studios. Ooh. There we go. We got this one. 1964, Walt Disney, Oscar baby. What's the answer? Type it in. Hopefully you have found a trend between all of the answers thus far. The answer I'm looking for is, of course, Mary Poppins. That's right, Mary Poppins. It actually took home 5 of those Oscars, which were Best Special Visual Effects, Best Film Editing, Best Musical Score, Best Song for Chim Chim Cheree, and, of course, Best Actress, Julie Andrews. There you go. Question number 8. Christopher Lloyd portrayed this board game character in a 1985 film. Which board game character are we talking about? Christopher Lloyd, Doc himself. Who did he portray in the 80s? I mean, there's only been so many board games represented on film. The answer I'm looking for is, of course, my boy, Professor Plum. Yep, Professor Plum from Clue. The professor has been depicted in a variety of different styles and academic areas of expertise. In some iterations, he's an archaeologist. In another, he's a video game designer. In the movie, he's a psychiatrist. He's an inventor in another one. But in the board game, Professor Plum always rolls last. You remember that rule? I don't think people ever play by it. But Professor Plum always rolls last. Your penultimate question. This U.S. state capital city, named for a city in France, is the least populous state capital. Ooh. Okay. This was new information to me. I did not know this about this state capital. Type your answer in. We're coming down to it. These are your last 2 points available for tonight. You can do it. U.S. state capital city. There's only 50. Who's got a nice song in their head that helps them remember them? The answer is Montpelier, Vermont. Yep, that's right. It's Vermont. According to the 2010 census, the population was only 7,855. That is very small. I mean, especially for a capital city. I mean, my college had over 4 times that many people. So, living in the capital of Vermont sounds quite small. Here is your final question of the night and of the season. Thank you guys for playing with us. Here it is. Let's all get it right. I think it's the only question I could have asked. It's the only one that felt right. Friendship is Magic is the subtitle of this animated show based on a popular toy brand that began in the 1980s. Friendship is Magic is the subtitle of which animated show? Type your answer in, and then you guys can start tallying up your scores. Because that is it. We did it. We made it all the way to the end, and we're about to find out who's going to name this duck once and for all. 10 Fridays in a row he's gone without a name, and finally they're going to get it. I'm sorry if I keep saying he. This duck, please name it whatever you'd like. Number 10, the answer is My Little Pony. That's right. A very interesting and largely successful run over the last 30 years My Little Pony has had. But what they did not expect was the wide fandom that spawned from their latest show, Friendship is Magic. If you're unfamiliar with the fan base, might I recommend looking up the word brony. That concludes our final round of Tub Trivia Season 1. And what a way to end it, right? Prince, Mary Poppins, and Rainbow Dash all together in one room. What a beautiful sight. Please count up your scores and let us know how you did. I mean, if you got one question right, that's amazing. Or if you got 30 right, that's also amazing. It doesn't matter. We want to hear it because everybody here are beautiful geniuses, and we love you for playing. While you tally up your scores, let me leave you with your final fun fact of the season. This is it. The history of bathtubs goes back thousands of years, with the earliest evidence of plumbing systems going back as far as 3300 BCE. Clawfoot tubs found its origins in the mid-18th century in the Netherlands after being adopted by the aristocracy. And modern porcelain tubs, which are made by bonding porcelain enamel to cast iron, were developed in the late 1800s. But they were advertised a little bit differently from the ornate, luxurious tubs of the century before. One bathtub by Kohler was advertised as a horse trough and hog scalder, and then later it said, when furnished with 4 legs, it could serve as a bathtub. But first and foremost, it's a hog scalder, which, by the way, is a device used to soften the skin of dead pigs for butchery. I guess they thought scalding hogs was more important than washing your back. Hey, to each their own is what I say. Guys, it looks like we have a couple winners here. So I don't know how we're going to divvy up this name. We got Kui Quay, we got Kellyanne O'Brien, we got Brittany Hill, all tying with 33 points, which is an amazing score. Congratulations. Kelly Ann suggested Tub Chala, which that is, as hilarious it is also beautiful. Rest in power, Chadwick Boseman. We also got Moby Duck. These are all great names. You know what? I think we're just going to have to cycle through for, like, we'll share custody of the names. So for 1 week, it's going to go by Tub Chala. It'll also for 1 week go by Moby Duck from Kui Quay Quad. And Brittany Hill, if you have a name, please give it to us, because that will be its 3rd name. It will be a duck of many, many names. Thank you guys so much for playing. What a fun and silly end to a fun and silly season. Big congratulations to everyone who's played tonight and who's played with us over the last couple of months. Look, I'm not going to try to get too sappy right now, but I truly believe that in the end, I am the real winner because I have gotten to play this very fun game with all of you. We will see you again very soon, okay? The next edition of Mental Floss Trivia is soon to come, I promise. Do not forget to moisturize, to learn as much as you can, to check in on your friends, to wear a mask, to follow Mental Floss on Instagram, to condition your hair, and most importantly, to stay bubbly. Thank you, and I'll see you around.